In this lesson, we're going to learn how to write ratios and then write and solve a proportion. A ratio is a comparative of two quantities in the form of a fraction. We always do it A colon B, which is A to B, and that's how it's pronounced, as A to B. Or we write it in the more typical fashion for mathematics, A over B, which is a fraction, or A divided by B. All right, and we always make sure that this ratio, this fraction, is in a reduced form. So if your example is 2/4, and that's your ratio, okay, then it becomes 1/2 in reduced form. So let's start with some simple things. The FMG volleyball team plays 16 away games and 20 home games. And we want to write a ratio for home games to away games. All right, so home games are 20 and away games are 16. So if we want home to away, it would be home over away. So if you want to set yourself up with words on how to do this, and then we plug in the number, home games are 20, away games are 16, and then we reduce it. These are both divisible by 2, but they're also divisible by 4 as the higher value, so we would go for 4 and say 5/4 would be our final answer. Now if we want to write the ratio of away games to home games, okay, we have to do the same thing. It's away over home. So it's in the order in which you read it where your numerator denominator goes. Away games is 16, home games are 20, and we divide by 4, and it's 4/5. So there's a difference in how the ratio will appear depending on what comparison you're making to the other. And if we want to make a comparison of home games to all games, we have to total. So all games is going to be the total, which is going to be 16 plus 20, which is 36. So home games is 20. 36 is our total number of games. Again, they're divisible by 2 because they're both even numbers. So let's do that. And we say, all right, 20 divided by 2 is 10. 36 divided by 2 is 18. But you can see, again, we have more to do to reduce. So there are 10 and 18 are divisible by 2. So 5/9 would be our final answer. And if we want to do away games to all games played, we would take our away games, which is 16, and we would divide it by 36. Again, they're divisible by 2, so 8/18. And we can see we can actually reduce 8/18 further. Divisible by 2 again would be 4/9, and that would be our ratio of away games to all games played. Now, proportions. Proportions are two ratios that equal each other, so they become an equation. So we're going to write and solve these proportions. A is to D, so we say, all right, well, if A is to D, it's 8/D. As means equals. 2 is to 12 is 2/12. And at this point, you have two choices. 2/12 can be reduced if you'd like it, so 8/D equals 1/6, or you can leave it as 2/12. In the other case, I'm going to do both. What we're going to do is we cross multiply. When you have a ratio equals a ratio, we cross multiply. So that's the key. Ratio equals a ratio. Fraction equals a fraction. There's nothing added to these or subtracted from these, so we have a fraction equals a fraction. Cross multiplying means you just take in a loop, you crisscross the denominator with the numerator, and you multiply. So 2 times D is 2D. And then you crisscross again, 8 times 12, which is 96. So 2D equals 96. So one goes on one side, one goes on the other. Now we solve by dividing by 2. D equals 2 into 9 goes 4. Carry 1 is 16, goes in 8. So it's 48 is our answer. If you had reduced the 2/12, you can do the same thing here. It's still cross multiplying. D times 1, so 1D. And 8 times 6, 48. So either way, you can get the same answer. All right, let's set up the next one. 3 is to 4, so 3/4. As is equals. X is to 16, so x/16. we're going to cross multiply 4 times x, so 4x equals, and 3 times 16 is 48. Divide by 4 on each side, so x equals 12. And that's our final answer. So that is how you write and solve a proportion. Now, sometimes we have word problems, and it's big paragraph. So let's look at it. When 2 full moons occur in the same month, the second full moon is called a blue moon. By the way, this past Halloween, we had our second full moon of the month. So not only was it a full moon for Halloween, it was a blue moon for Halloween. On average, 2 blue moons occur every 5 years. So we have a relationship between the number of moons and the number of years. That's our ratio. Find the number of blue moons that are likely to occur in the next 30 years. So we're going to set up our ratio, our proportion now. Moons to years. So on average, we have 2 moons occur every 5 years. So 2 to 5. We want to find the number of blue moons that occur in the next 30 years. Now remember, moons is the top number, your numerator, and number of years is your bottom number or your denominator. So we don't know how many moons might occur in the next 30 years, so we make it x over 30. Okay, now we cross multiply, and we get 5x equals 2 times 30 is 60. Divide by 5, x equals 12. So the number of blue moons that are likely to occur in the next 30 years are 12. So 12 blue moons to occur in the next 30 years. And that's how you write your answer. And here is your supporting work. All right, now looking at the examples you have on your worksheet, you've got 6 problems. We're going to go through pretty quickly. 13 over 6 equals 52 over z. Cross multiply. 13z. Cross multiply. 52 times 6. And you'll need a calculator for some of these because they'll be quick and easy. Okay, but you can also check your head. So 52 times 6 is going to give us 312. You're going to divide by 13. Okay, so 312 divided by 13, and we're going to get 24. And that's our answer. Now to check yourself, 52 divided by 24 reduces to 13 over 6. So that's a check. All right, next one, a little bit more complicated looking. We have 7 times the quantity of a plus 7. So as soon as we see that plus there, we're going to have to put that in parentheses. Then we have negative 49 times 6, and be careful of your signs. Okay, so 49 times 6, negative 49 times 6 is a negative 294. So again, being very careful. All right, now here we have to do a little distribution. So 7 times a and 7 times 7. So we'll get 7a plus 49 equals negative 294. We're going to subtract that 49 on each side. We're going to get 7a equals 294 plus the negative 49. Okay, plus 49. Okay, it's going to give us negative 343. So now we're going to divide by 7. Watch your signs. That's a 1. A equals negative divided by positive is a negative answer. Okay, divided by 7 is going to give us 49. So our answer is A equals negative 49. All right, next, we get a little more complicated looking, but not too bad. Again, you know your rule, crisscross, so you're going to cross multiply. 12 times r, so 12r. 8 times the quantity, and the quantity is r plus 1. We're going to do a little distributing here and here. So we're going to get 12r equals 8r plus 8. We're going to subtract the 8r. 4r equals 8, divide by 4, and r equals 2. So r equals 2 is our answer. Now if you want to do a check, 8 over 12 equals r is 2, r plus 1 is 3, and you can crisscross this and say, all right, cross multiply. 8 times 3 is 24, 12 times 2 is 24, or you can reduce this, which becomes 2/3, so they equal. So there's a number of ways you can actually check. Next one, 7/9 equals b over b minus 10. Cross multiply 9b. Cross multiply 7 times a quantity. All right. Distribute. So 9b equals 7b minus 70. Subtract 7b. 2b equals negative 70. Don't forget the sign in front belongs to the number or the term. Divide by 2, and b equals negative 35. And that's our answer. 2 more problems. 4/3 equals 8 over x. I think that's pretty easy to figure. 4 times 2 gives you 8, so 3 times 2 should be 6, but let's check it out. But no guessing, all work, all algebra. So 4x equals 24, and solve for 4. Solve for x by dividing by 4, and x is 6. And so our guessing was correct, but our proof is right here. Now this one looks even more complicated, but it's really nothing to be afraid of. It's r minus 9 times 8, so we always put the monomial single term first, and then the grouping, all right, so the quantity. And then we have 5 times r plus 5, so equals 5 times r plus 5. We do a little distributing here. We get 8r minus 72. We do a little distributing here. We get equals 5r plus 25. We subtract 5r. We're going to get 3r minus 72 equals 25. We add 72. We add 72. We're going to get 3r equals, and that's going to be 97, I think, right? 97 it looks like. Okay. And now we're going to divide by 3. And we get r equals 97 divided by 3 is 32 with 1 remaining, so 32 1/3. And it is possible that you can get an answer that is a decimal. I would leave it though as a fraction. So, and if you want to see how to do that, 97 divided by 3. 3 goes into 9 3 times. That's 9. Brings down 7. 3 into 7 goes 2. Gives me 6. 1. So remainder 1. Remember those days? So this becomes 32 and 1 remaining out of the 3 you started to divide by. So that's how we get the 1/3. And that is how you solve proportions.